Hi, my name is Rob Duvalll and welcome to Halton Tech Today. Today we're at the Burlington Fire Station and we're going to be talking with Ben and Dan from Javelin. And what they do is they take a 2 and 3D world and convert it into game-based training, something that's becoming extremely popular in the high-tech world. So let's go and talk to them and see actually how they're going to convert and help the Burlington Fire Department go into the next realm of 3D animation. So we're going to be talking to Dan Gamsby from Javelin, and he's going to actually walk us through some of the things that we need to get ahead of time to convert a 2D or 3D world into a game-based type environment. So Dan, maybe you could kind of walk us through what it is that we just saw and why you needed to get those shots?
Well, what we want to do is when we do a 3D dynamic training simulation, or some people call it a serious video game, we want it to be as real as possible. That goes right down to any texturing or materials that are going to be inside the game, as well as any audio, as well as the angles that things are at as far as visual appeal. So in this case, we had my partner Ben in there with a close, tight video camera. We also had audio recording at the same time. So what we can do with that audio is take sound clips of the metal breaking, windows smashing, the audio from the firefighters, and we can put that into the scenario that we're working on.
Right, and something that we noticed, one of the pieces of equipment snapped.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're in training, of course, that's the exact thing that you want to have happen, but
right.
I mean, you have to probably incorporate maybe some of those variables into the game, just so they can practice.
Yeah, depending on how far and how deep you want the game to go, yeah, you could program in all sorts of failure scenarios and then alternates to what happens when that scenario takes place. So that is a perfect example, and it's great that we are actually able to see that today.
Are they going to get a competitive edge in everything they do, not only saving lives, but of course in some of the training that they compete with, by being able to practice this all the time? Is that something that slows them down in the winter, or like today, like we have record-breaking temperatures? I mean, this is really hot today, 104 on the Fahrenheit scale, but you know, we're looking at high 40s. That's got to be hard. Yeah,
well, it all comes down to saving lives, right?
Yeah.
And the more practice that you can have to save a life, the better. Now, the things that the fire departments face is training in the middle of winter up here, and also they're running out of vehicles. So vehicles are getting harder and harder to find to mutilate. So anything that they can have as far as a tool to allow them to practice off hours, off training, and actually for fresh new recruits who haven't been exposed to competition yet, to at least prepare them to be in the scenario that you just saw today. That's the kind of benefit that you get from dynamic training that we work on.
Exactly, and there must be a huge cost also going through all these vehicles, because you're not just going to pop windshields on. Of course you want, destroyed cars, but at the same time it's got to be a huge cost. Yeah,
it's a huge cost to them, and also the thing that's starting to happen is as cars get newer and cars get safer and cars get engineered in different ways and with different metals, it's just harder to get a hold of them. Cars last longer, less are thrown out, so they're becoming more and more scarce also.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, well, thank you very much. And I guess we'll head back to their offices and take a look at some of the final products that they're working on to walk us through some of those scenarios. Hi, and welcome back. I'm here with Ben Sainsbury at Javelin, and we're here in their amazing 3D studio. And we're going to be taking a look at some of the projects that they're working on. So Ben, thank you very much for having us here. In the background, it looks like we have Cooper Construction, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe you can kind of walk us through some of the things that you're doing with them.
Absolutely. So Cooper Construction came to us, and they're in the progress of building a 70,000 square foot building up in Weber Street, up in Kitchener-Waterloo area. And they asked us to basically do a walkthrough to try to help them lease the space.
Right, right.
To lease the different units of the building.
Right, right. And just coming from the Burlington Fire Department, I saw how you were taking pictures beforehand, and we're going to use them, or you're going to use them rather, in some of your 3D rendering. What I really found interesting is the fact that this was all done in a two-dimensional world. It was just drawings. And then you converted them into this 3D animated walkthrough, which is just amazing. So
absolutely. So,
how does that work?
Well, they basically gave us 2D DWG files, which is basically 2D AutoCAD files.
Right.
And we then extruded those to 3D. Wow. And then we were able to put all the textures, actual real textures that we got from the client.
Right.
And we had a few architectural renderings that we could kind of eyeball how things looked.
Sure.
And then we added, you know, the trees, the walkthrough, the avatar, and really gave you a sense of what the experience was like walking around the building.
Right, right. And something that I know you brought up last time when we were first looking at this is sometimes you find in the drawings that things shouldn't have been there, and the 3D brings that out.
Absolutely.
Where a pipe is sticking out of the center of a floor and it shouldn't be there, or something silly like that. But this probably gives you a little bit of an insight before it even goes to be built that, hey, something actually we found is a little different here and shouldn't happen.
Absolutely.
So,
and actually another key feature for this particular building was the lighting. There's some really, those windows cast some really nice lights inside the building. So they wanted us to bring that out in the scenario.
Right.
So we could, with this program, actually set the time of day. So we did an afternoon sun, and when you do a walkthrough inside the building, it's really dramatic. You can really see how the light plays into the overall design of the building.
Yeah. What was the feedback that you got from people seeing this for the first time when you had that big tent unveiling of walking them through the project and seeing it really before it was even done?
Yeah, it was an interesting event because what they did is they put a tent on the construction site, and then they had CBRE was the host, and Cooper, and they had a bunch of prospective brokers that can fill the space or get people to lease the space, sitting down with the catered lunch and watching this in 3D. They were blown away.
Wow.
Bill Cooper thought that this had never been done before and that we were kind of breaking new ground. And it was really dramatic to hear the construction in the background, because you really got a sense of, okay,
it's like a 4D, you know?
This isn't happening yet, but I can hear it. So it was kind of added a little bit of drama to the event, and hopefully they'll get at least.
Sure. I think the one thing that people find fascinating, especially in moving, you know, we always separate, you know, I'm going to say church and state here, where, oh, you know, you're playing games and that's just games, and, you know, here's the AutoCAD drawings, but it looks like there's really a skewed line between them now, because when you're bringing some of this stuff up, it looks like the game controller. It looks like an Xbox game controller. So can you actually use it to walk through and move where you want to move, and is that the purpose of it, or, you know, take a look at different points of view? Is that how that's working?
Absolutely. And some of the features in here, like the bathrooms were a big important feature, and the hallway. So a agent can actually go, or a broker can actually go to our game on the website and walk around, and whatever they think their client really wants to see, they can walk to it. So normally in these real estate kind of walkthroughs, it's just a video that plays, static video. In this case, it's more dynamic. So whatever the feature is, whether it be a common space outside the building, or the trees, or the lighting, the broker will have a chance and the client will have a chance to actually go there.
So I'm actually not watching a movie. I can take control as the end user and walk to where I want to walk and go through the building as I see fit. So if there's a question afterwards or anything like that, I can just do it.
And we've got the avatar, actually he can jump, he can run, so you can run to a different part of the building. And
that's amazing. That's amazing. So in regards to what we were doing today, are you able now to take a lot of those textures and audios and things like that and just start placing them in your virtual environment? Is that how that's going to work?
Absolutely.
And then the firefighters then could, once again, with a game controller, start experimenting. Okay, this is what happens when I use this product, or, you know, this tool to extract somebody out of a burning vehicle and things like that.
We're going to take you next over to the computer where we'll show you the program in action, the fire drill program.
Great.
So we're going to add all that audio so that it's as real as possible, because when we do the fire drill, we didn't want to do something where, you know, that it wasn't real for the firemen. We wanted to actually, you know, make it as real as possible.
Sure.
So that's audio, that's textures, that's the device itself, which weighs, you know, 40, 50 pounds.
Right.
So we've tried to incorporate as many real elements into this scenario as possible.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, let's go take a look then. Let's see what that's about.
All right, great.